obviously, I'll just fix this quickly. When you're creating a module, the most obvious thing you'll want is to create and modify data that you can use as part of the module. And I ain't covered this yet, so I'm just going to go through that. So PrestaShop uses mysql as a database, so obviously we're going to probably use that for storing information rather than putting it in files. So the way we deal with that is just using these install and uninstall functions. We just attach more events on, but for database specific. So for the install function, we're going to create a table and uninstall, destroy a table. So I'm going to start all the query, SQL queries, in a variable called query. So create table, and I've just started. Wait, that's not it. I've noted a couple of variables down because it's a bit hard to remember, so I'll just go through them once I'm onto it. So you can see here I'm writing the statement for create table and I'm using something called db prefix. So if I just go to the second bit, this is my PrestaShop database, and you can see all the tables inside this database have the letters PS and an underscore followed by the actual table name, and the PS underscore is the prefix which stands for PrestaShop. And because this can be custom, we have to use this constant or global variable which has the actual prefix value, which is PS underscore in this case, or it could be something different on any other store. So we've definitely got to have whatever we name a table, have it PS underscore followed by whatever name we want for it specifically. So in this case, I'm just going to use the name of the module in lowercase, no spaces. And then we're going to type in what we want to call the rows that we're inserting. This is just going to be like a sample column. It's not going to really mean anything, so we're just going to create two. One's just going to be a general ID column, and the other one's just going to hold information, so we'll just put ID link, because you use the ID to link to a lot of stuff in other tables. Put some basics. So not null means basically that it can't have an empty value. Just before that, put int 2, which means any value in this column has to be a number of one or two digits, and auto increment, which means this will the number to go in this column will automatically be dealt with. The next one's just going to be ID info. Set this varchar to 255, which is the limit. And then primary key. This is basically your column which is used to identify everything. And that's just going to be ID link. And then we just need a little bit of extra information which I've stored here temporarily, which is the engine. So this is just a just to make sure MySQL is compatible, and then char set UTF-8, which means that it can deal with all languages and all characters of any type. So if you were using ISO 88591, which is American English, I think. If there were any characters from another language in there, it probably wouldn't show up, so it's just safer to use this method. So that's the create query. And then this is the function we use, which is in the DB class to test out the function. So this is just the query. This is what the function that executes the query, just to make sure it works. So in this case, if this doesn't create a new table, then the module won't say it's installed properly. So just paste that in the uninstall as well. And just copy this. So for the uninstall function, it's going to be a lot shorter because all it is dropping the table or destroying it. So that's just changing create to drop. Semicolon. So that should be fine. Just go back and test it. So before you do anything with this module, you want to make sure that parse error. Well, that's a good thing as well, but just make sure you don't get any errors. So we just need to troubleshoot this. The error is definitely coming from this part. So just need to troubleshoot it. Forgot a dot in there, I believe. Ignore that message. Yep, there was just a small little problem which could easily be overcome. So we need to make sure this isn't installed, and if it is, we need to make sure no extra uninstall code has been executed, so no dropping tables, because obviously they won't exist. So just click it, install, and if this code's right, you should get a module installed successfully. And we can go back to I'm using MAMP, so just go back to these tables and should be able to see some new tables right here. So you can see there's the module's just created exactly what we've specified. So this little table here. So this is what our module can use. And if I click uninstall, again, code's alright because it's telling us it's uninstalled successfully. Back to MAMP, refresh the page. And you can see now, if I go through because it was called PDF Customizer, it's around here somewhere, but obviously because I've just uninstalled it, it's now disappeared. So all that code's fine, and that was quite straightforward, although often the way modules are designed, they have more than one table. They normally have either two or more tables, because the idea of it is one table contains all the specific data and the other one contains language equivalents and translations. So if you start a table full of data for, let's say, example, web links, so let's say you add a link to Google, but maybe Google translates to a different word in another language, then you won't be able to store any translation of it in one table. You'd have to store the basic information about it in one table, and then use it as a reference to the language table, and then just put all the translations in that table. And the common way to do that in PrestaShop is just name it how it's named at the minute. So PS underscore the name of your module in lowercase, no spaces, but then followed by underscore lang. So LANG. So just gonna quickly to make it easier. Instead of trying to keep it all in one statement, I'm just going to split it up just so it makes a bit more sense and it's less prone to errors. So query to and just change, well, add on to this with lang there. So I'm not going to save this at a minute just because I haven't uninstalled it, because it won't pick up that I need to uninstall this new table, because that table won't exist already, obviously. But so I just need to, oh wait, I already did uninstall it. I didn't even notice. Means can I save it? So that's installed successfully. Go back to MAMP. Reload. And yep, so those are our two tables now. And just go back and uninstall it. So just reload it for the phpMyAdmin one last time. And you can see it no longer shows up. So everything's fine there, and that's it. And if you have any problems with that, it's more than likely that you've wrote some crappy code for that. Don't mean that's not a criticism. It's everybody does it every now and again, but you just need to make sure you keep testing it like that before you do any more code, and just keep double checking it until it works completely right, or you just end up it kind of screws over everything else at a later point. So apart from that, that's how you create and destroy tables.